So the last job that I worked, I was 22 years old. I am now about to be 30. And I've been reflecting on that a little bit because it's been 8 years. And in actuality, it's felt a lot longer because that seems like a lifetime ago when that was my life, when I was working a set schedule, when I wasn't working for myself. But now that we're here, I figured today would be a great time to talk about it. It is an absolutely gorgeous South Florida night. It's Friday night. Yesterday's video talked about the business of editing and the media business and how we try to keep clients happy regardless. But at the same time, you've got to think about what you promised the clients and what can or can't work out for you. So tonight I figured I'd just come down by the water while I'm on this walk and just share my thoughts about what it's been like the last 8 years. And I guess the easiest thing to say is that it's been very, very, very difficult at times. Building a business, working for yourself is not for everyone. And most of the time, especially when you're starting out, it sucks. And I say that as it sucks, as not like it actually is the worst thing, because it's a blessing. Being able to operate on your own schedule, it's a blessing. But what sucks is the amount of stress that is in your life at all times. If you want a stress-free life, do not own a business. You see, stress is just part of what it is like to be a business owner. And that is a part of who you are. Now, I feel like I handle it really well because I'm a very upbeat, very positive, very outgoing person. So I feel like I handle the stress pretty well and I don't always let it show. But inside, there's a lot of things that bother me. And whether that's financial stress, whether it's underperforming for a client stress, whether it's there's so much to do stress, whether there's a fire that you've got to put out stress, there's so many various stressors in business. So if you don't handle stress well, then ultimately business is not for you. However, outside of the stress, there's always in the beginning the financial aspect. And I'm not even counting this in the stress necessarily, because if you are not financially okay, the stress is always going to be there. But in business, it's even worse because if you don't have the money to be able to sustain the business that you're in because your overhead is too high, then not only do you have personal stress, but then you've got business stress. And then unfortunately, you really won't even work. Like the business won't work. You'll fail because you don't have the money to continue the business. So money is always something. Now, when you get to a point of success, business success, money obviously isn't really much of an obstacle. Now, throughout these 8 years, if you don't know the businesses that I've done, here's the businesses in the last 8 years that I've done. I was a professional race car driver under my own business. I owned a trucking business, which I still own. I have an apparel company, which I still own. I have my media business, which I still own. What else have I done? The media business kind of is the main one because even when I have not been necessarily doing specific monthly projects for clients, I always had some sort of progress with the media business. For example, maybe it's not a monthly contract or a yearly contract, but it's a one-time wedding contract to do a wedding of a person, and that, pays 10 grand. That is something that has always been there. But ultimately, those are the businesses. Oh, duh, real estate. Didn't even mention real estate. So real estate. So those are the businesses ultimately that I've had over the years. I love this house right here. It's so beautiful. Right on the water. There's just so many places to go when you live in Florida, especially around the sunset time, that are just absolutely just gorgeous. I mean, docks. But actually, you know what? We'll sit down here. Yeah, there we go. So, I've got burrs all over me now. If you live in Florida, get these burrs all the time. Yeah, that's fun. So ultimately, those are the businesses that I've had over the last 8 years. And the one that has been the long-term one is the media business. It's been 8 years now. That's the one that I started. I got into media right after the racing business. Well, while I was racing, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to sustain it because the amount of money that racing entails is astronomical. And even with sponsors, it's very, very difficult to pay out of pocket to race. And I knew I was going to have another option. So for me, I knew I wanted that at the time to be media. Now, I didn't know anything about it. So while I was on the road with my race car trailering in my F-250, driving all over the country with the race car in the back, I was listening to podcasts about video editing. I was watching videos on YouTube about how to do this and how to do that in media. When I'd get to the hotel room, that's what I would watch, how to do this, how to do that. So I did that for probably about 6 months to a year. And then when I officially stopped racing, that's when I started the media business, and I jumped right in with the knowledge that I had. So that's been the longest business that I've had. Now, throughout the years, I've obviously done various things. I've mentioned the apparel company that's kind of on hold right now, just because unfortunately my partner and I, we've just been so busy with life. The media business right now, we're overflowing with clients, which is great. But it just takes a lot of time. And right now I just don't have time to focus on the apparel business. Real estate, I've talked a lot about real estate on this channel before. That's definitely the one that incurs the most money, but it also takes a lot of investment. But that's really not what this video is about. Like I said, this video is kind of about the 8 years and the struggles and also the positives of it. So outside of the stress, the financial stress, outside of the stress of just business, you have a lot of people relying on you. We're going to get moving back to the house because the sun's starting to go down. So we'll just get moving back to the house. But ultimately, you have a lot of people relying on you. So as I mentioned yesterday, when I built my media business, I don't price per service. I price per goal. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then check out yesterday's video. I'll link it up here so you can check it out. But I price per goal. So I allow my customers to tell me what their goals are, and then they give me the price of what they want to pay for that service. So if their goal is to make $10,000 this month, okay, client, how much are you willing to pay to achieve that goal? And then they give me a price, and then from there we work on what that price is, whether that's a good price or a bad price. We negotiate to get it to where we're both comfortable. So when you're pricing per goal, you've got a lot of extra stress on you because that client relies on you to accomplish their goals. So not only are you trying to accomplish your own goals, you're trying to accomplish someone else's goals. But that also allows more trust between you and the client. It allows you to charge more because the client is invested and the client knows you care. So those are the positives of it. But the downside to that is they rely heavily on you, which is once again, more stress. So something else to keep in mind. Now, the biggest thing is, I want to slowly wrap this video up. The biggest thing that I do these businesses for? Ultimately, first off, to gain experience. You can never have enough experience. You never stop learning. And when you're in business, you're always learning every single day. Another thing is it keeps life fun. It keeps life fresh because there's always something that you've got to do, always something to work on, always something to build. It's like a never-ending project. Another thing is the confidence and trust that you must put in yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only person who's going to make those businesses succeed are you, not your employees, not your clients. Sure, they're very, very important. I mean, most people can't operate their business without their employees, but they're never going to care about your business as much as you care about your business. Same thing with clients. Clients might love you. You might have grown their business 20 times, but they're never going to care about your business as much as you do. So you're your only support system. So in good times and in bad times, you must push through, and you must ultimately realize that you're the main support system that you have. Never allow yourself, here goes some rabbits. Never allow yourself to fall into the trap of not having your back and not having the confidence in you. The most important thing to me about business that has been by far the best thing and the true reason why day after day I continue to build these businesses comes down to the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. Now, you must be disciplined. If you don't have the discipline to make your schedule, to follow through with your schedule, to do the things that you need to do to succeed, you absolutely will not make it. And every business owner has struggled with that, including myself. Oh, do you know how easy it is on a day to wake up and realize that, oh, I don't really want to take 6 hours to edit this video today, so I don't think I will. I think I'll just sit on the couch and watch a movie, or I'll just play video games. And there's a lot of times where, guess what, that happens. Because it's exhausting running a business. It's exhausting. But if you're able to do that, if you're able to control your schedule to allow yourself the freedom, but also get done what it is that you need to get done, it is one of the greatest feelings on this earth. Because you can wake up, and if you have 10 things to do that day, and that's something else I should say is, I don't schedule as a time. Now, if I have to meet a client at a certain time, that's one thing. If I have to film a video at a certain time, that's another thing. But most of the day when I wake up and I look at what it is that needs to get done, I don't have a set time to do those things. It's just these things have to get done at that time. Nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if I do this thing at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. as long as it gets done. So having that flexibility, having the allowance to be able to do that is what's incredible. Some days, perfect example, tomorrow is Saturday. We're going to Miami. I can do that. I have stuff to get done tomorrow, but we're going to go to Miami in the morning. We're going to go hang out at Aventura Mall. We're going to go hang out back at our old spots where we used to live. We're going to get some good food, and then we're going to get back to work. When it comes to Sunday, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to church in the morning, and then we're going to go to the beach. So I am allowed to do that. I'm allowing myself to do that because I'm able to do that. So once again, that's just a perk of the job. That is kind of the de-stressor that you can allow yourself to be able to kind of de-stress your life. I just cut because I was talking to my neighbor. They have such a nice yard, and in Florida, you have like nothing but sand under the grass, at least here in Fort Myers and Cape. So the grass here is not very nice, and they have such a great yard. and it's so nice. That's what I was complimenting her on. She has someone do it, but I mean, still, it's a great yard. So ultimately, this business is amazing. Business life, it's amazing. It's a blessing, but it's hard and it's stressful. And as you progress through the tiers of levels of business, there's always going to be positives and negatives the higher you go. And ultimately, I want to get back to a point of really what I was doing in Miami with my partners, because although the money wasn't necessarily in front of me or I couldn't use it, ultimately it was very, I don't know the right word. It was very motivating knowing that we had $3 million worth of properties and the ability to use that to leverage what it is that you need is always amazing. That's kind of where I want to get. Right now, we're not there. Right now, I'm pulling about, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, pulling about $6,000 a month. I want to get to $10K a month and then hire out. And then once I hire out, focus heavily back on real estate and my trucking business. And I've actually got a partner lined up for the trucking business to invest into me since I'm no longer on the road right now as I'm dealing with that lawsuit. But I have a partner who's willing to invest, which is great. So ultimately, today was a very busy day for me, but I wanted to get a video out and I wanted to talk about my last 8 years. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. I'll be sure to answer them. I'm an open book, so let me know what you have outside of that. I'm trying to make daily videos right now, talking about life, business, my everyday life in business. And ultimately, if you guys are interested in learning more or wanting to see more or whatever it is, hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss a video. Other than that, I'm home. I'm going to go edit a video, and then I've got to head to a client at 10 p.m. tonight because they've got an event. It's an event night. It's a salsa dance night, so got to film. It's gonna be a late night, and then we're up and out to Miami tomorrow. So outside of that, appreciate you guys watching. Peace out, and remember, you create your own story.